This week we are going to talk to my special guest and friend Beth about Election Day, and we'll make a twist on one of her favorite cocktails that we've named the Vienna Mule. This week our impactful donations focus on 2 Arizona candidates and a nonprofit organization seeking better elections for all. Let's support Katie Hobbs for Arizona Governor. As Arizona's Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs delivered a historically secure election for Arizona voters. Now she's running for governor to bring new leadership to this battleground state that is the site of some of the most dangerous recent attacks on our democracy by the incumbent who has spread conspiracy theories about the 2020 elections. And Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, who is hoping to hang on to his seat in order to preserve the Democratic Party's numbers in the Senate. Senator Kelly's Republican rival is endorsed by extremists. It is spreading right-wing conspiracy theories about the 2020 election and is calling for a national ban on abortion with no exceptions. Lastly, Fair Vote is a nonpartisan organization that researches and advances voting reforms that make democracy more functional and representative for every American, a proponent for ranked choice voting and an advocate for the Fair Representation Act. Fair Vote has been a catalyst for voting reform since 1992. Check out www.freedom-fridays.com for quick links to our weekly impactful donations. Okay, so with Election Day just over 2 months away, I've asked my good friend, fellow voter advocate, and Fairfax County, Virginia election officer, Beth, to talk to us today about all things election related. There have been concerns by some that our elections are not fair, that the outcomes are rigged, and that votes are being stolen. We're going to dispel some of those concerns today and hopefully inspire some of you to volunteer in the process. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming today.
It's lovely to be here in your beautiful home.
Thank you. Okay, so why don't we start off by talking about your background in volunteering with elections?
Okay, well, it actually goes back to the 1990s in Romania, and the wall had just fallen in Berlin. There had just been the revolution in Romania, and so I ended up with a Fulbright there in economics and got to know a lot of people in the State Department and ended up becoming a monitor. And I was really fascinated with the election process then and have kept up with it and eventually became an election officer. And I did that joining when I was here in Virginia with the League of Women Voters, that they were encouraging people to become officers, and was how I got involved.
Okay, awesome. And then for our viewers, if you didn't know, if you're outside of the state of Virginia, in Virginia now, Election Day is a holiday, a state holiday,
right,
which we really appreciate, and I think it's great. I think all states should have an Election Day holiday. So let's see if we can get that going. But could you let our viewers know, like, what is Election Day like as a volunteer? What would a volunteer do at one of the sites?
Okay, so for an election officer, you have training, and there's several different positions. So if you've been voters, you know that there are people who greet you and tell you to, look at the sample ballot, and then maybe get out your ID, that sort of thing, answer any questions, and then you go in and you meet the people who are working. In our case, we have pull pads, they're iPads, but somehow to check in. So the check-in table, then they will get you checked in, give you a card that will then let you go get your ballot. So you then go to the ballot people who have been carefully counting the ballots and making sure only to give you one and such. And then there's an election officer there observing, making sure everything's okay. And then finally there's one by the machines to help you as you are getting your ballot scanned. So there are just a few during the day, some floaters helping, and then we have a chief and assistant chief as well.
Okay, so my next question is, why is it important to have people with different political ideologies working at the same location?
And the reason for that is to have balance. So there are, when I've been chief and I get the list of all the officers, it shows what political party we are. And it's just so that we don't have all Democrats running an election, all Republicans, but we have a mix. We have elections every year in Virginia. We have both Republicans and Democrats serving, and the chief always matches the political party of the governor. So this time the chief will be a Republican and the assistant chief will be a Democrat. And they're just, checks and balances, but everyone runs it very professionally.
And then my last question is for anyone out there that might want to know how they volunteer or why it's important to volunteer at elections. I mean, I'm assuming that we really couldn't run statewide elections without a lot of people helping.
Right. Nationwide, they're probably, because elections often are every 2 years, they may not have as many officers. So you need people who are going to come in, just want to do their civic duty and just do a good professional job. Your opinion about the outcome isn't important, but to run it freely and fairly for your fellow officers. Great thing for young people to do, for college students to do. There's usually pay. It's nominal, in Fairfax County for a regular election officer, it's $175. You're not going to get wealthy off of it, but you get something. And so it's a good way to do your civic duty and to know, and you'll see all the checks and balances and all the different things we do, how careful we are with the ballots, how the paper ballots are done, how all kinds of things, so that you then can help dispel the myth. That's a good thing to do as well.
Right, yeah. I think and this year I have signed up for my very first time to work at the elections. I'm going to be there for the whole day on election day, and I'll really get to see the process from a completely different point of view, and I'm really excited about that.
That's great.
Thank you so much for all that great information. Is there anything else that you want to add before we move on to the cocktail?
Well, that's tempting to move on to the cocktail. I guess I'll just say that you had mentioned disinformation or misinformation, which are each a little different, but elections in the United States are secure, they are fair, and it's important that we all believe that, and that we all participate to understand that, just for the health of our democracy. So the more you can participate, the more you can either be an election officer, make sure to thank your election officers, the better we all are.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, since we have a special guest today, I wanted to know what her favorite cocktail was, and her favorite cocktail is a mule, partly because she had it when her son Paul was out in California, and now he's in Boulder, and I have a daughter who's in Boulder, so I have 2 daughters in Boulder, so we thought it was a perfect drink to make for this video since we're doing it together. So we have our mule cups, which are these copper mugs. This one is for Beth, and this one is for me.
Very cold.
Yeah, it has ice in it, so make sure you put ice in your mule cup. You can use a regular glass also, like a highball or a rocks glass would also work, or any glass really. And we are going to start with 1.5 ounces of vodka. Let's go ahead and pour that in. Then 1/2 ounce Saint Germain. And you guys know I love yeah, Saint Germain or Saint Germain.
Saint Germain.
All right, and then the next thing you're going to add is 3/4 ounce of lime juice. And remember, that's like half of a lime, but I have ours together, so I'm just going to carefully pour my portion in.
I feel like I'm here with Martha Stewart. Everything is so organized.
Okay, and then the last ingredient is 2 ounces of ginger beer, and we're using this Gosling's ginger beer. Fever Tree is also another one of my favorites. So I'll do my 2 ounces.
Those are nice little measuring cups.
Gotta have good barware.
That's right.
Okay, and there's 2 ounces for Beth. Set this over here. And then you're just going to stir. Give it a little stir. And then you're going to top it with a lime wheel or any other garnish that you want to.
Very nice.
Okay, and with that, this is a mule named after our town, Vienna, Virginia. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks to our special guest, Beth. I hope our talk today inspires some of you to support our government in the voting process by volunteering to work on Election Day. And don't forget to cheers to change a cocktail donation to one of our Arizona candidates, Katie Hobbs for governor and Mark Kelly for Senate. And let's not forget about fair vote. Our nation deserves fair voting practices for fair representation. Next week, it's the mid-season recap, and I'll be making a few fun mocktails. That's new. So see you then. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
One more cheers.